tucking into there. Now, very welcome back. When you tuck into a bowl of mussels, you're usually in a bistro by the sea or on your holidays in Spain, but they're actually really easy to make at home. And Nicola Halloran, author of the Wonky Spatula, joins us now with more. Good morning to you, Nicola.
Good morning.
You're dishing them up there, and I know some people absolutely, this is such a treat.
An absolute treat. And
I'm just not mad on shellfish. And I'm always actually quite nervous of mussels, even when people are, like friends of mine who like them, they're going, oh no, is this one done, is that one done? And they're a bit cautious on it.
Exactly, and you know what? It's all about kind of educating yourself on how best to go about making them, and then once you have kind of the right tools, you're flying. So the first thing to do when you get your mussels is pick through them when you get them home from the supermarket, because this time of the year they're a little bit beardy, which I know if you're not a fan that's quite gross, but
is that just the stuff on the shell outside?
It's just the little bits of seaweed and stuff that they pick up. So give them a good kind of scrub and pop through them. Now the next kind of step is to pop them into some water for about kind of 10 minutes. I like to leave it for a good bit of time. You know, so if you're having dinner in half an hour, no problem leaving them in the water for that length of time. And then once they've been in the water, you want to make sure that they're all completely closed.
Yeah, if they're slightly open, don't put them in, is it?
Exactly. So remove any of them that are open at that stage, and then you're going to go into the pot. So you can do loads of different things with them. White wine sauce, a little bit of tomato and basil. Today I'm going to do pesto because I just think it's a really simple one, and it's one that people maybe don't think about when they're doing their mussels. So I've got a little bit of olive oil heating here, and then I have some pesto. And
can I ask you, on average, when you get a lot of mussels like you have there, how many would be open? How many would you discard? Would there be, would you be unlucky?
2 or 3, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, at this stage. So you've got your pesto in, and then you're going to go in with the mussels. So I use a slotted spoon because I want a little bit of the water to help with cooking, but not too much. So in they go.
And is that it? And you just leave it like that? You keep moving them around?
I like to give them a little bit of a shake. So we'll pop them all in and then just give them a little mix. The sizzling will settle down at that stage now that they've kind of gotten in there. And just mix through with the pesto, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, the white, you were saying the white one, that is probably the most conventional one, isn't it? People like their mussels in a white wine.
Exactly. And when I was growing up, every summer we'd go down to Sligo with my granddad because he was actually from there, and we would have tons of mussels. Like every day we'd have mussels. And one thing that I always found when I started kind of getting into cooking and that kind of thing, I wasn't sure how to go about making mussels. They're kind of one that, you know the way you like to eat them, but then you kind of worry about doing them yourself in case you get it wrong.
Well, that's the thing.
Knowing that the first stage is, getting them into a little bit of water, picking through, and then having a look and making sure, putting them in here. Now they go in for kind of 4 to 6 minutes. I prefer to go a little over with them just to make sure that they're all fully cooked. And once they've kind of been worked through, you can see then that all the different ones, they're open. At the stage when you're eating them, like, never force a mussel open when you go to eat it, because...
So the fact is that they open means they're ready.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
If some of them are open and some of them are not, do you leave them all in, and then will the other ones that have opened earlier would get a bit tougher?
No, to be honest, I don't think you can really overcook them at this stage. Now, if you put them into a chowder or something and you reheated it, yeah, they might get a little bit tough. But with these ones, no. And what I like to do is I use a glass-covered lid so that I can see into them, because if you have kind of a stainless steel lid and you're in there, you're not really sure, and once you release the steam, it'll slow down the cooking process.
Okay, so do you have to put a lid on it? Yes, you will. That encourages them to open,
exactly.
Is it?
They're heating in the steam. You've essentially made like a little kind of steam oven in this, and the kind of the liquid from the pesto heats up right through it.
Are they expensive?
No, and that's the beauty about them. They're so accessible. accessible, €2 for a kilo of them. So
wow.
yeah, you'd be mad not to give them a go, because worst case scenario, you know, you don't like them.
Exactly, and it's only after costing you a few euro.
Exactly, and you can play around with all of the different flavours, like garlic and herbs is gorgeous. The pesto is brilliant. You could even make your own pesto at home with some nice fresh basil.
Now, do you see there seems to be an awful lot of liquid in the second pan where they've opened? So is that something coming out? Is that a different type of thing, or is that just the pesto?
So that's the pesto, the steam from the cooking process with the heat rising up, and a little bit of the water that went in there at that stage. So these guys are cooking away, and like, there is a bit of a steam building up on the pan, so you can't completely see, but you can kind of gauge as to whether they're opening or not.
And can I ask you, can you get bad ones even when they're open? Like, don't know the way you're sort of saying, oh, if they're slightly open, don't put them in. Can you get bad ones that you go, oh no, that's not a good one, by looking at it even, no?
No, I'm quite biased when it comes to the shells. I like the pretty shells and things like that. So in that way, then yes, but no, they're not going to kind of cause any ill effects if they have opened like that. And actually, now, Alan, I know you're not necessarily a fan, but I'll show you my favourite way to eat them.
Yeah, because people take it one and then they use the shell to eat it.
Exactly, yes, so that's what I do. I use the shell and you go in at it. And this is a great one for kids to kind of get involved, because it gets them to see where the food's coming from, what it looks like, and it's also a bit of fun to kind of play with that. And now, when I eat my mussels then, I actually stack my shells up in a nice long line. It's just a bit of a ritual that me and my granddad had, and anytime my mum and I now go to a restaurant and we eat mussels and we do that, the waitresses are always like, God, these people are weird. But it's such a ritual, and I think those kind of things are really important, you know, eating things that you love and having memories attached to them, for sure.
So they're quite cost effective.
Yeah.
It's so easy to make if you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
And that's the thing.
And that's the thing. Just make sure they're shut at the beginning and they're open at the end, and you really can't go wrong.
Can I ask you, would you, because I've seen people having them for a full main course where they get a massive bowl. Would you recommend maybe just as a nice little starter? Or would you sit down for a massive bowl and go?
I'd probably
you probably
eat the
would.
two bowls together.
Really?
But yeah,
are they filling?
They are quite filling, because they're really, really heavy in protein, and they've got a little bit of a high fat content as well. So they'd be similar in salmon, lots of omega-3, so they would fill you up. Now, I wouldn't say no to a little bowl of chips on my holidays with
I was going to say,
well,
because I see people with them with chips, and it's like a thing, isn't it?
Exactly, moules frites.
Yeah.
Or a little bit of bread to kind of mop up that lovely sauce at the end of it, whatever you're into. Equally, they would be stunning, especially with the pesto stirred into a bowl of spaghetti.
Lovely crusty bread, and just dip it into the leftover sauce.
And it could be that really nice hostess and take them all out of the shells, or you could just dump it in and let people have a bit of fun.
Oh no, I mean, the whole idea is the shell is there, isn't it?
Big time.
So easy. Thank you so much for that this morning. I wish I liked them, but I don't. Sorry.
No offense.
Thank you very much. Now, for full recipe details, they're up on our website, or you can check Nicola's book, The Wonky Spatula, for more.